Hello, everybody, and welcome back to round 5, the last round of Swiss of this TNE challenge. Um, we have an interesting match coming up. We found the one Xenon deck that isn't that still exists in this. Or sorry, the one non-Xenon deck that still exists in this tournament. Yeah. Found the Menace deck.
Yep.
It's a pretty sweet Frenzy Menace deck from SooNo. Um, and I'm excited to see what SooNo brings to this. It's always been a very solid player. I've worked with him very much in the past. Um,
Looks like we're running
oh,
to some small difficulty here, but to give
oh,
the rough breakdown though, so it's taking advantage of the new Found Adept buff of being moved to 2. And what's cool is that you can actually curve that into either playing something like Icicles due to the overwhelm damage, being able to proc the Found Adept, and you can draw cards right away. And Found Adept and Plunk kind of go together like it's like you have 8 cards that you could play on turn 2 that can give you an advantage in terms of pulling you ahead on cards. Uh, I like that the buff to Found Adept allows you to go Found Adept into Wind Screamer also, which SooNo is playing. SooNo, where you can the Wind Screamer is giving it +1/+1 by nature of having flying naturally, and then you can still draw cards off of that. And there's some pretty sweet like inclusions such as Sahin, which is pretty good against say Null Blade or any of the relic weapons like Hidden Garrote, and then also Inferno Phoenix for pushing through those extra points of damage. If you have a Wind Screamer in play, just being able to go 4/2 like double damage charge flying is kind of a lot of damage, and it's the Still Stronghold deck. So Still Stronghold can also buff your Found Adept the turn that you play the Stronghold, um, which is all
into the
like really
threat.
sweet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once Found Adept, we were discussing this before coming on air. That Found Adept maybe didn't even need the buff. But now it does have it, and it's very strong card. It's definitely one of the pillars of the format. I think getting that thing going. There are many ways of triggering in this format besides triggering the frenzy naturally. Like for example, Wind Screamer. There's also stuff like Scalestorm Patrol and things like this, right? That can immediately get this Felon up going. And once you get a Call the Deck a turn, I was gonna say the impulse, but magic references. Yeah. So
Well,
once
this
you can
one's
get it going, it's
Anticipate
just
though. It's
definitely
only
very
3
strong.
cards.
Notably, Felon Adept, like just that's not all. Like it does get the you card advantage right as you go along, but if you triggered frenzy twice in the turn, that's 4 damage. That's a plus whatever frenzy amount. That's a very huge beating. So we'll see whether or not the Xenon deck can even keep up in damage, right?
Right, like a lot of your math there is also just
Yes.
using one Felon Adept, but Felon Adept is actually pretty good at finding other Felon Adepts, and then
Yeah,
and
that's
and
true.
one great addition to this deck is Warning Shot. You can just kill them out of nowhere just by having any
We
frenzy
saw
card
that.
in play. Like, oh, I
We
just
saw that
had
earlier.
yeah, I just had 2 or 3 Warning Shots, so I guess you're dead.
Exactly. We saw that earlier, right?
Hmm.
The a couple of warning shots, maybe like a serpent hive or whatever it was. And they were dead. The opponent was dead. We thought it was uh they were playing from behind almost, and that didn't happen there. So yeah, very excited to see this deck. Very interesting. We definitely have to kind of figure out where this frenzy's stuff is going, right? It's hard to build. Like this is out of left field, right? You had, for example, you had to play plunks in this deck, right? And like Inferno Phoenix is not a card that I would traditionally see in this deck, but it is a Wind Screamer target, for example. It does get +1/+1 from the flying. It's just, yeah. And this is for sure an interesting build of the deck.
I like how cohesive it is at understanding how good their 2 drops are, in that they get to play Parax Mount and Wind Screamer with Plunk. So if you play, say, Plunk, then Wind Screamer, and Warning Shot upstairs, then you already get to give the Plunk the when the wind screamer flying, and then you're able to fly over and draw more cards to replenish the fact that you use warning shot. So and then also like Stone Scar Adept is in this deck as well. You'll be able to play that on 2 or even 3, and then like use also. So I
That
like
card
how
definitely grows out of control very, very fast. The Stone Scar Adept. You can trigger that multiple times. You got a 2-cost 4/4 with Warcry, I believe. Does it have Warcry? Yeah, it does have
yeah.
Warcry. Yep, just insane. Yep.
Yeah, sometimes it feels almost like a 2-power Cha-Cha or something.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, looks like
We're
we're
gonna
gonna be
head
able to go
down
down to the match. We didn't touch on it that much, but Jez, we saw at the end of last round, is playing Xenon, a deck that they call Boring Xenon.
I mean, it's basically what we expect from most of the Xena decks. It's got the Grumbo package, so there's like 2 different schools of thought, I suppose. Is the more focus on the Grumbo and then more focus on late game. In this case, Jez basically has it all. I don't know.
So one thing that's notable about Jez's list is playing 4 Evelinas, which I'm for, but is only playing 2 Shrivels and 4 Call the Hits, and none of the shadow displays. So maybe a little bit more removal light, but like skewed more down for the Call the Hits. So the Call the Hits will be really good in this matchup, but maybe lacking some of the later on removal might actually hurt.
I do actually really like not running those displays because I think that
It helps your power.
it helps your power base so much in order to do that, especially since you're trying to run a Vikram in the same
Mhm.
deck. Like, you can focus on getting one of those displays running, like I said, but getting this getting double and then getting the triple for the display is a little difficult sometimes. It
Yeah.
allows you, like, you have to almost run like like a like, for example, Jez is running a 7/6 split of Shadow versus Time, and you almost have to run like something like 9 or 10 Shadow Sigils in order to get that to work. But
Yeah.
anyway,
There's always something to be said for being able to play it and mulliganing less. Like you can say, oh, the game played out like this. It's like, no, you really just lost because you mulliganed to say.
yeah, you didn't get enough influence in the opening hand or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like in some people's testing process, they can overlook like how much the power base or influence like requirements are actually costing them versus the actual cards that they're playing.
Notably, I feel like I got a little lucky during the in Worlds. Well, I mean, obviously you have to get lucky in order to win a tournament, but like in terms of playing the Civ,
Mm-hmm.
that the triple time card. I noticed like afterward playing my deck after Worlds, it wasn't getting Civ that often,
Mm-hmm.
right? I wasn't able to get Civ that often, so as often as what I would like. So I got to do it a lot during the tournament, but afterward, not as much. So yeah,
I'm not sure how much you pay attention to my team's deck since we didn't top 4 or anything, but we know a
I
thing or
did.
two about having bad influence requirements for that deck.
I think that was a pretty crazy deck.
Yeah,
You ran Renaya in the
yeah,
same deck as like Vikram. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah. And Vikram and 4 greater plans. Yeah, it was great. I never got powered screwed. I even cut a seek power just to prove to them that it'll be okay.
all right. So anyway, to the game, we have Jazz, who's a little power screwed. I think they're probably gonna have to devour eventually here. We've got SooNo not hitting their face. Sort of pump the. I mean, yeah, I think Grumbo has to trade here, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why we had to fall
The
one,
2/1. No.
but maybe he just would have done it anyway. Go grab another card. But yeah, Jez kind of stalling on power. So we're talking about how nice Jez's influence requirements are, but sometimes it's just quantity of power that.
So the Icicles comes down, kills a Grumbo. It's probably going to be gotten back again. This Grumbo has seen a lot of fight,
Yeah,
a lot of war.
I feel like it should be even bigger than it is with all of its.
At 3/3.
The still stronghold. It's kind of hard because you kind of want to be able to utilize the victim most of the time and not be forced eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to kill your own unit?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I was just guessing.
Kill an enemy non-hero unit, you do not.
Oh wow. They make these cards too good these days. Sorry. But okay, so small comeback for Jez here. SooNo's really hoping to hit the fire sword.
They do. That means that's a 2-turn clock probably. Let's see, 10. Yeah, no, it's not a 2-turn clock.
So there's the
No, it is
onboard
a 2-turn
answer
clock.
of the Rat King's an onboard answer, and then you can leave up Shrivel / Devour for the charge unit. So I think in Jez's favor.
It is for the Saheen. Yep.
I guess yeah. It's just
Trades with the
traded
Rat
off.
King, gets another Rat King, and it's actually quite good for Jez. They gain a bunch of life too from the Grumbo, right? So
Right.
so they're able to race here. Well, I mean, racing an empty board is pretty easy, but you know what I mean.
You're saying 0 times large number still.
So, they got a double damage torque off the top, which will be killed by this Shrivel. Got three Devours in hand. Chips was making a huge point yesterday of reminding me that, or not reminding, but like saying that Devour is a bad card, making me look foolish here on cam. You didn't really need this Devour this game, did you?
So one thing that is knowable is that even if there wasn't the Shrivel, you could use the Rat King, like strength the torque, and still be able to get in there with your Grumbo. I mean, you still might not be able to get in with the Grumbo because the Snowball would have been able to kill the Rat King. I guess you would
kind
need.
of just attack with the 9 here and then like Devour twice. I don't know.
Yeah, since you have the Shrivel, yeah, it definitely seems.
They're gonna ace base though.
This works too.
They can technically block, right?
Well, so
15,
if they block
yeah.
the 3/2, you win, or anything that's not the 9/9 because you just devour and they don't lifesteal.
All right, game 1 goes to Jez.
Yeah, so Grumbo really, just coming back a few times and then being wildly boosted by that by those pair of Rat King.
Grumbo definitely a very very powerful card. We knew that going in though, right? We knew as soon as that card was spoiled that it would probably be very very strong. At least I did. I did a set review with RNG and Bassoon Buffoon and LOA. And they were the RNG was like, "Is Bear Arms actually that good?" And I'm like, I mean, Bear Arms that's in time, yes.
Yes. and like the health's not nothing. Like
Yeah.
Jez was end of the game like in double digits, but wasn't there the whole time.
Yeah, definitely had to dip down below, especially with that Phoenix hit. In this case, Jez has a turn to nest on the play. Seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, so SooNo actually kept the hand without shadow, but was able to draw the tome first turn. But I think a lot of that was talked up to the power of Plunk with Paradox Mount, just like starting a card advantage.
Yeah, just had an okay hand without the shadow, right? If they only had one card that had shadow in their hand, so
and a single shadow, so
yeah. In this case, okay, so they're gonna play the Igniter. They're probably gonna make a 1/1, right? No.
Oh, it's this to be able to trade if
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
no shenanigans. And
Right.
like
They could have traded anyway, but yeah, if there was shenanigans, then it's more likely to trade.
huge amount of debt. Gonna need to pay that
Yeah.
off all next turn.
Oh, we call that filing for chapter 11.
Good one.
Takes it. Want to trade off the plunk, probably pretty wise considering how good plunk is. Tito comes down, has avoided all the plunks that could have gotten value off of it.
I wonder if it's either going to be the Sahin or the Torque. I feel like it's between those two. Because Wind Screamer sets you up for like actually being able to race back pretty well.
Right.
And then Icicles could be like lethal or a friend. Like for the Wind Screamer. I feel like it's one of the other two.
Surely Sahid is only a 3-4. It doesn't have the relic for the lifesteal, so
Yeah.
okay. So they discard the they wanted the 3-3 versus the 3-4 versus the 3-3 body.
Probably just
Fair
also
enough.
valuing the summon effect on Sahin.
Yeah. It does trigger very nicely the Wind Screamer, right?
Yep.
All right, they have to pay off their debts this turn.
I'd be interested in take that here also. I think you do, but I think it's
Do not. Okay.
yeah. I definitely
They
respect
can't
that.
cast the Wind Screamer, right? Following turn if they don't drop power. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, could they? I don't know. They would have had to play out the frenzy trigger though.
Right. Right. The Serpent Hive.
There's also Wind Screamer coming down. Yeah, with the trigger.
Yeah, these
Gets
Valor
the
flyers.
Yep. And that means that these aren't blockable unless they want to.
Could devour.
Yeah.
And after this, your Dino Nest flips, and you have quite a bit of damage on the way back. And without a card like Stone Scar, or without either of the
Other
Adepts
Dino
in
Nest.
play, without either of the Adepts in play, it's actually hard for SooNo to just punk Jez out of the game with a large amount of like warning shots.
All right. So this is probably in true A space territory, right? Although, if SooNo draws a power, an undepleted, they do have a nice lethal in the backswing. Just has to worry about that.
So, yeah, I imagine what we see is an attack with everyone except for the Flyer, or maybe except Flyer and Zito, and then you can play Krogar. This is the other line. It's definitely one of those. The Krogar, you can silence the Wind Screamer, so that way you stop the pumping of.
All right, and SooNo is definitely going for the I want lethal this turn line, right? So they gain 3, go up to 17. Oh wait, 5? Oh geez, I didn't even realize that, to be honest. That's a lot of life.
Oh, I thought it was game 3 also. Yeah, it's game 5.
Okay.
Well,
So that's
there
only
is the
7
power.
plus 7 plus 6 is notably not 19.
Yeah, so would have been 13, 13 plus 4. So yeah, it wouldn't have even been enough because of how much life the Krogar got to gain.
All right, and Jess takes that handily 2-0.
Right, but Suno's not necessarily out of it because a bunch of 3-2s are going to be able to make it. So there's only one 4-0 and a bunch of 3. So here it looks like we have DQ Doggo against Martin on the Hombre deck that we saw earlier today.
Sweet Hombre deck. They are 1-1 currently.
Oh wow!
They get to play action. 2 of them.
I mean,
play 2 of them.
Not out of the woods. Like they might need an Alessi's choice to be able to fight back against this Carnosaur. And you know I'm about the Carnosaur, right, Thea?
Carnosaur. But what about the 6 6 cost Carnosaur. Card's
No.
been in the game for years.
No, just this one.
Just this
I
one.
like this one a lot.
It is definitely a juicy one. So you're much less life total than your opponent here. That is a disparity. So that life total catching up is going to be interesting. And now they have more units than them. So fully activated Carnosaur.
Yes. I wonder if we can see Devour on the Vikram. Hopefully.
Taking care of that. No longer taunt though. Vikram being able to steal the 5/5, being able to attack with it this turn.
Yeah, so when we're testing for Worlds, every time someone got to Vikram endurance unit, I made them say yeehaw. As in, I did it a bunch of people. So that was a pretty big yeehaw over there.
It was I stole Iron Man, one of Iron Man's Magnaventures, and I thought it was a bad play at the time. Like I thought it was actually a misplay at the time. Because I could attack with it, but like there was also some like much bigger units, let's say, than Magnaventures on that board. And I said I made this is a mistake or whatever. I actually emoted and I felt super bad afterward because it was actually the right play.
That's awesome.
Because I could chump with the Magnaventures. Anyway, regaling stories, the trenches. Okay, so they silence what? They silence in there?
The Dino.
Dino-Nest? Okay, if there was a Dino-Nest active. Okay, that makes sense.
Carnosaur.
That Carnosaur is never getting taunt. You know that, right?
I'm fine with that.
Mystical Shackles.
Now it's just never gonna speak. Well, that's okay. We got some Grumbo.
Okay, we should look for your cards first, right? Get this Grumble bigger. Come on.
I guess they want Doggo is just planning on saving it.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, there's an argument to be made, like, you don't know what you're looking for yet. Like, what if you need a removal spell versus whatever, but I think your point was just, like, you could just apply more pressure.
Yeah. There's no board wipe in Martin's deck, so
that's right.
Just applying pressure is pretty good. I don't think it's going to matter here, though. It looks like Deku Doggo is going to probably take this match. You know what? Probably shouldn't say that too early, though. We're gonna jinx him.
Yeah.
This is that into the Grumbo. Guess they're looking for another answer to the Grumbo anyway. Like the 4/4 is probably already too big for them to handle.
Sometimes I just try not to overthink it. Like maybe the players, you know, it's like, okay, this game's just over. I just know I'd do this on something. Okay, fine, that one. It's tough sometimes.
Yeah. And now if they play a hero like a Cicalis, they're just ultra dead.
Yeah. But here, Martin's just normal dead, so that brings DQ Doggo up to 4-1, also through to the top 8, and Martin also just sweating breakers.
That was it. That was it for the round.
All right, so who's in? Yeah. Read them off, Theo.
Thufer, your teammate, number 1, 5-0. Actually went 5-0. Didn't need it, but got there. DQ Doggo, we just watched get in there. I think they were already in, but they ran up the score. Then Game Grump, Jez, Daskar, Stormguard, our TO normally.
Lost round 1, right? Stormguard lost round 1 and won.
No, I think Stormguard won.
Really? Yeah, you're probably right.
And Martin and Apple Chips managed to squeak in there.
Wow.
So Martin, the Cicalis deck, Cicalis?
Yeah.
Sickles. Anyway, and then Chips sneak in there with their destruction deck.
Yeah, and condolences to those who missed on Unbreakers. So Derek Davis, SooNo, Phoenix, and I'm So Bad, all coming up 3-2.
Yep. Them's the breaks, though, right?
Yeah,
Them's
but
the
like
breaks.
still matters for the overall what do you call it? The
point
points for the
scoring.
season. Yeah,
Yeah.
the leaderboard.
They'll all have picked up a few points, and since Gozu has been tearing through the competition, we did have an extra wildcard slot open up, so yeah.
Stakes can be
So
any
I believe we
higher
have
for
7.
for the players in this. Right?
I think we have 7 wildcard slots, so yeah. So we have quite a few wildcard slots. At any rate, let's go to a commercial break, so to speak, and come back for our top 8.